Hi, guys. Mrs. Kane here. Ooh, doing a little dance here with another little Disney Pixar lesson. Sorry, I'm moving my computer around. So, yesterday we talked about inferencing, and today we're going to talk about theme and what that looks like in. Oh, I'm trying to move this. It is not moving. Sorry, guys. Um, and today we're going to talk about theme and what that looks like in a text and how to find that. So, it's important when you're talking about theme to look at things that happen in the story, okay? And look at what is the conflict and the problem, and then how, when we figure out the problem, how the main character solves that problem and learns a lesson, that is the theme. That's kind of what we can take as what we need to learn. So, what I want you to do is get out your reader's notebook. You are going to write down this definition, okay? I promise one of these days I'll get this figured out. You do not need to write down the examples on the bottom, but I'm going to walk you through this really quick. So, a theme is a lesson that the author wants you to know about life and how life works. A theme never has characters' names in it. A theme never has he or she. A theme is more just like you could see it on a bumper sticker and it's going to apply to your life. You could put it on a quote and put it on your Instagram. It could be on the back of somebody's van. It is something that you can apply to your life. Okay. So it's going to be written as a complete sentence. Some examples can be like love conquers all or try new things. A certain experience can change a life. A true friend is one who is there when nobody else is. Things like that. Okay. So take a second, pause the video, write down what is in blue and that little in green because that's important, and purple. And if you want to add that it does not include characters' names, that might be a good note to add too. Okay. So before we get into doing this with a Pixar movie, because again, we just love that. Before we get into that, we're going to talk and touch base on the story that we read the other day called A Respectable Woman. And if you remember, Mrs. Baroda, she's respectable, so she doesn't want to have, have an affair with Gouvernail, right? And originally, though, she just wasn't sure how she felt about him. And so I have this worksheet for you that you guys will end up getting. Okay. If you are not here at school, I will send you the PDF and you can just copy the questions down in your notebook, copy them down on a piece of paper. You can type them up and share it with me. However you want to do it is fine, but this is a great way to figure out the theme before you just can come up with the theme right away. Okay. So the steps to finding the theme are to figure out the conflict, figure out how the characters change, and then we're going to describe that change. Figure out what the characters themselves learn, because after we figure out what the characters learn, that is the lesson that we could learn. Okay. So when you look at A Respectable Woman, the conflict is that Mrs. Baroda does not like Gouvernail because he doesn't fit in with her way of life. If you remember, he didn't have her class or social class. He didn't experience the same thing she did, and she couldn't figure out anything about him. So she just immediately didn't like him because she didn't like his social class. And then she was still like trying to figure him out. So she was intrigued by him, but her gut reaction was to not like him. Okay. But then the character change, she realized that she's drawn to him after they start talking. She realizes that he has a lot to share. Okay. And then down here, what does the character learn? Well, she learns that our society classes, the classes that he is in, or that anybody's in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you fit based on like the way people talk or where, how much money they make or what their job is. She learned not to judge based on what you think, based on who somebody is, based on society. Okay. So the themes that we can get from that: don't judge a book by its cover. Okay. Social class doesn't determine who you are as a person. So that is something that you can apply to anything, whatever social class you are. It doesn't determine who you are as a person. Based on, you don't judge somebody based on little things that you know about them. You have to actually get to know somebody. Okay. So feel free to pause and you can write this down in your notebook. You can go back in the text and refresh if this doesn't seem right. These two, this was kind of the beginning. This was near the end. Okay. So a theme will go from the beginning to the end, and that's how we'll teach the lesson. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to watch, it's called La Luna, and it is another Disney Pixar short. And you're going to awkwardly see me over in the corner watching it, but I'll pause it probably closer to the end, and we will talk about what's going on. So I'm going to hide myself down here in the corner as small as I can go. Okay, go ahead and give this a watch. So the dad and grandpa are arguing. He wants to be like them. So what's the conflict here? Is the first thing that we need to do to figure out the theme. So clearly the boy feels like he doesn't know who to go with, right? Dad and grandpa, they were arguing about which way the hat goes, and they were arguing about which tool to use on the moon. And he clearly looks up to both of them, okay? Pay attention to the boy and see how he changes.
voilà.
All right, so based on what we just watched, so remember the conflict was that the dad and the grandpa, they just can't get along and they're kind of stuck in their ways, right? Well, the character, if you paid attention, you might have to go back and rewatch, but the boy, when that big star came, he flipped his hat around before he climbed to the top. So his first change, which the hat doesn't necessarily mean it's just the hat, it symbolizes him and it symbolizes the hat that he's going through, it symbolizes the change that he's going through, but he turned his hat around and did his own thing and amazed his dad and his grandpa, right? And then he used a different tool to clean the moon. Okay, so what did he learn? So this would be this question here. What did he learn? He learned that there's more than one way to get things done. You don't have to necessarily follow dad. You don't necessarily have to follow grandpa. There's more than one way to get things done. And so I think a good theme for this would be try new things or have an open mind. Okay. And both of those things are things that we can apply to our life. All right. So here's your goal for the rest of the period. First of all, you have your Common Lit short story. You are going to try and use this organizer and figure out the theme of your Common Lit short story from yesterday. Okay. And then we want you to sit and look at your independent reading book and try to figure out the theme. Now, some of you aren't very far, and that's okay because a theme is developed from beginning, middle, and end. So maybe you notice a theme in the first couple chapters because of the conflict. The conflict is going to give you the clue. What's the problem? What's going on with these characters? That conflict is going to give you the clue for the theme. More themes may show up. That theme may be the central theme the whole way, but you can find a theme based on the conflict and what the characters are learning, okay? As always, feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day. Bye.